All right, welcome to video 2. We are moving on in our chapter 5 in the book. We've set up our third sequence in that last video. Now we're going to be dealing with After Effects, and two things that I want to make sure when you go into your Launchpad and look, make sure it truly is After Effects 2020, not a 2018 or 19 version. Right here you guys see Premiere 2018 and probably wonder what I'm doing, but on my other window I do in fact have 2020 installed, and I can't for the life of me get that 2018 icon to go away even though I've uninstalled it. So another thing to look at is your Adobe Cloud account and make sure that when you see After Effects, if it tells you that you need to update, you should have some warnings here like I see on these other pieces of software. You can always click on these three dots and see what other versions are there, and you can see the only one I currently have installed is the latest, 17.0.5. All of these older ones are not, so my only options with those are to install them and to uninstall this current one. So this is what you want to be in. Make sure you're in the 2020 version. All right. So basically, let's just talk about what After Effects is, because it's different than Premiere Pro and it's used hand in hand with it quite a bit. So you can kind of think of it as the Swiss Army knife of motion graphics and special effects. You can do anything from simple animated text to creating elaborate title sequences for motion pictures. This is an industry standard tool, so this is not something that's just, you know, the flavor of the day. This is definitely what they're using in industry. So in this lesson, we're going to learn some basic skills to create basic graphics and put them into our video for poolside. And we are seriously only scratching the surface. We could take a whole course on After Effects. We could do a whole degree in video editing and motion graphics. Let's talk about the link between motion graphic artists and video editors. So as a video editor, it's possible to launch After Effects directly from Premiere Pro. When you're in your Premiere Pro timeline and you click on a clip, we can actually send it to After Effects to do some things with it. So if you're a motion graphics artist, the person coming up with these, you're going to spend a lot more time in After Effects than you are in Premiere. So in After Effects, what we're going to see in just a minute when we launch that application is you're going to see that you're going to spend most of your time assembling visual elements into a composition and animating them. So compositing, like we know from Photoshop, is when you merge multiple images from different sources. So we took the bear in Photoshop and we put him somewhere funny. That was a compositing. So for example, when you're doing After Effects compositions, these can include video clips, photographs, vector graphics, and text, each with their own unique setting. The video can be doing something while a photograph is doing something at a different time or the same time. Graphics can come in and out, so there's timing and layers involved. Animation is the rapid display of images to create the illusion of motion. So we talked about that with the flip book type concept, how fast your frames per second go by. All right. After Effects, much like Premiere Pro, is a resource hog, so I would highly recommend that when you're working on these projects, you close out everything else you can down here. So don't have Photoshop and Illustrator running, don't have Bridge running, don't be streaming Netflix. Try to keep things as clean and quiet as possible so that your resources can focus on After Effects. Some components that are going to help you, RAM. After Effects loves RAM, so the more you have, the better. I realize we're all working on our own computers, and that might be interesting, but let's just see what we can do. After Effects also takes advantage of the OpenGL graphics language. So if you have that, great. If you don't worry about it. A good powerful graphics card is helpful and better. So if any of you are working on older laptops with not so great graphics cards, we're going to see some problems. A fast hard drive is also really important. So let's get into it. I've already launched AfterEffects 2020, and here it is. The little splash screen that comes up the first time you load this, I've already moved past that. And we're just going to look at the interface right now. The first thing I want to do is make sure we're all on the same interface. So up in the window workspace, I want you all to click on Standard. Notice that there's a bunch of options, just like there were in Premiere Pro. So when we're working on motion tracking or painting or animation, all that means is that they preload certain windows with tools that you will most likely need. We are going to go with the standard workspace, so make sure you turn that on. Once we get that done, we should have 7 different panels visible. And I'm going to start over here at the top left. This is the project panel. This is where we store and organize all of our assets, such as footage and composition. So project panel, just like in Premiere, that makes sense. The next one over here to the right is our composition panel. This is where you're going to view your graphics and make spatial manipulations to layers. So this is very much like the program monitor in Premiere Pro. This is where we're going to see things. All right, our timeline spans this whole area down here. It's not just this middle section like it is in Premiere. So the timeline is this whole thing. What makes this unique is that this part of it is like a Photoshop layers listing where we're going to have different things composited together on different layers, and when they turn on and when they spin and when they do things is going to be on a layer by layer basis with timeline marks. So we're going to be using keyframing. So this is layers and timing all in one panel. Our toolbar isn't where we expect it to be. It's back up here and quite tiny, to be honest. So at the top is where our toolbar lives. We have home, selection, the hand, zoom tool, type tool, lots of things that look familiar. So when you need your tools, go back up here to the top of your work area. Again, all of these are customizable. You can make them a little bit bigger or smaller. I'm going to try to do this here. And top right, we have our info panel, and we can see nested with that is audio. In the info panel, this is where we're going to view data about an action, like what coordinates it's happening at, the X and Y coordinates, the color values, things like that. The next panel down is our preview panel, which is kind of small right now. This is going to be where we manipulate playback and preview settings for the active composition. So when we want to do some things with our preview, we're going to work in this area. The next panel down has 3 different things. The first, and the one that we're going to use the most, is the Effects and Presets panel. This is where we can access and apply effects and presets to whatever layer we have selected. So we're going to see a lot of options like blur and sharpen. Look at all these different options that we have. Or let's see, text. What can we do with text? Let's go to stylize. Plastic, color emboss. So lots of options within this panel. Also nested here is your libraries panel. This is tied to your own Creative Cloud library, and the character panel. Our paragraph panel is down here. And that takes care of looking at our basic interface. So I'm going to stop this video here.